Hello and welcome to the Alpha Software Demo and Q&A webcast. I'm Dave McCormack, VP of Product Management here at Alpha Software. Today I have a small Alpha Anywhere presentation for you. It may be small, in fact it doesn't go on for very long, but it is a very cool feature. It's just a feature that doesn't take that long to explain, but I think it's one that you're going to really enjoy using. And that feature today is the lightweight list component, or lightweight list control that goes inside of the UX component. Before I go any further, though, just a quick AV check. Can you guys see my screen? Do you see my mouse moving around there? Just let me know in the questions box. Okay, that's wonderful. Thanks very much. All right, so several months ago, maybe longer, I was talking to you about a control called the spreadsheet control. And the spreadsheet control is really neat. It goes into the UX component, and it works, as you might expect, like a spreadsheet with rows and columns. And there are things that you could do to it which are spreadsheet-like. But the lightweight list control takes this idea and expands on it. This feature came out officially in the stable release that came out in February. So it is in the current stable release. But there are some new features that are available for it, which are available in the nightly release. So we're going to start off with a basic functionality of lightweight lists, and then I'm going to show you some of the more advanced features. But we're also here, of course, to answer questions. So if you do have questions, go ahead and type them into the questions box or the chat window of the GoToWebinar control panel. All right, so let's get started on a lot of PowerPoint slides today, just mostly demos. So we're going to jump right into here, into Alpha Anywhere. Oops. Helps if I minimize the correct window. Hang on a second. That one. And that one. Great. Okay, I'm going to just go ahead and start again with a new UX component. So I'm here on the Web Projects control panel. I'm sure this is familiar to almost everyone here who is on the call. It is the place where you build your web apps in Alpha Anywhere, web and mobile apps. And I'm going to click New to create a component. Now, the most common component that we use in mobile and web apps is the UX component because it has a lot of flexibility and it works great for mobile as well as web. When you create one, you do have a selection of creating it from a template, which we have lots of different templates, but we're going to go ahead and start with a blank one here today. And we're going to take a look at this control. So I'm going to go here into the Add Controls section, and I am going to go into Light, just to do a search for lightweight list. And there it is. So I'm going to go ahead and create one. And this lightweight list control is going to be based off of a SQL table. And not surprisingly, we're going to go against Northwinds again. So let's just choose the one we usually do. Let's go after customers. So I'm going to call this new control customers. And when I click OK, it'll add that control here into my workspace. Now I'm going to go ahead and double click on that, and we're going to define it. Now you'll see when this lightweight list builder control pops up here, you'll see that the first thing it asks for is a connection string. I don't have to use the lightweight SQL list builder. I can use the regular one and use it with data that isn't SQL, but most of the time I think you'll be doing it this way. So we'll go ahead and click there, and I'm going to choose the connection string, the Northwinds connection string that we built, and then I simply select a table name out of there, and we're going to go with customers. Okay, I'm going to leave filter and order alone, and as you can see, the number of columns to show has been set to 5. So it's going to show the first 5 columns in that table. If I wanted to edit those and put in different columns and things like that, I absolutely can do that. I can do that here by double clicking. Oops. There. So once that's put in, as you can see, all I had to do is choose a connection string and a table, and that's all I had to do to create a working control. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. I'm going to click Save, and we'll call this lightweight L control. All right. And if I go into, oops, I do have security set up, so I'm going to say that this page is always allowed. I'm going to go into working preview now, and we'll take a look. And look what it has built for us. It has built us a complete list based on our data, which we can now click on. Now, one really neat thing is, like a regular list, you can also have a parent-child relationship between your lists. So for example, I could click on a particular customer and have the orders that they had placed appear down underneath in a second list. That's very easy to do. I just go into the design, back onto the design tab, and this time we're going to add another lightweight list control. And this one is going to be for orders. So I'll just call it orders. Oops. Double click again, and we're going to choose that same Northwind's connection string. Table width name this time is going to be orders. And now we're going to say that this one has got a parent lightweight list. So I'm going to go ahead and check that one. So that way it knows that one is connected to the other. And then I have to say, what's the relationship between these two? Oh, first of all, which list do I want to connect it to? That's going to be the customers list. And then the next thing is what's going to be the linking field? What ties these two tables together? So it's going to be the customer ID, because customer ID is available both in customers and in the orders table. So we'll go ahead and click OK on that. And we'll go to working preview. And I'm going to choose, for example, Ana Trujillo. And when I click on that, I should be able to scroll down. I can. And see, these are the orders that Ana Trujillo had placed. You'll also notice that we have buttons for creating new records, for deleting records, for saving records, and so forth. So this is a really, really cool and quick way to do CRUD operations against a SQL table. And as you can see, you can also set it up in a relational format. Now, there have been some new features that have been released on this. So I want to go ahead and take a look at the release notes and show you a couple of those. One of which actually is new. Oh, get rid of that. One of which is actually in, actually, let me show you some more of the basic features in the stable release, and then we'll take a look at the other ones. All right. So first of all, this is not checked by default, I think, when I come up here, advanced properties. It just shows me these things here. So you need to always turn this on if you want to do stuff like setting up a parent list. You have some more advanced options, which you can see right here. You can say whether or not you want to show the navigation bar, which I have turned on. I believe it's turned on by default. You can customize what the no records found message is. You can also customize how the column definitions are. And to do that, you click on the smart button over here, and you'll see here are my fields. Now to edit the property of a field, I just double click on one. So order ID, for example, let's say customer ID might be a field that I think I could hide. So I could go over here and I could say, go ahead and hide that field. Now there are two kind of neat features. One's called drag and fill, one's called drag and move, that I want to show you how those work also in a second. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK on that. And let's put it on, not on the, is this the order table? Yeah, that's the order table. Let's do this on the customer table. So let's say I want to edit my fields here, column definitions. And let's say for company name, let's turn on some of those features. So, oops. Oh, hang on, I'm messing it up. No, because it's right. Ugh. I have it right behind me. Let's go back into orders. I'll show it the other to it there. All right, so we're going to go down here into, pardon me here for a second, columns. Double click, say, on customer ID. And then here we go. Yeah, allow drag fill, allow drag move. Let's turn these on. I just want to show you the behavior of those two particular controls. I probably shouldn't have done it on customer ID load. Let's do it on order date or something like that. I don't know. Okay, click OK. Let's go into working preview. And I'm going to choose a particular customer so we can see their records underneath. Scroll down here. And you'll see when I click on this field here, I have these two buttons here. I have this move and I have this fill button. Okay. So same here, employee ID. Now, let's say you wouldn't really want to do this in real life, but let me see. Do I have another one here? Another field that I have this turned on? Yeah, I have it on order date. Let's say like in a spreadsheet, you had a value that you wanted to copy down multiple rows. And that might make sense, for example, if you were kept having new record and you were entering new records here. You can use this fill button here to drop down, and you'll see what's going to happen is it's changed all of those values to that value up there. So it's a kind of cool little spreadsheet feature. It's one that I would use during data entry, like I said, when you're entering in a bunch of new records, and you might have one column that you know is going to be the same for everyone. So you might type in that one value and then stretch it down from there. The other thing that we had with that option is this blue one over here, which is move. Move lets you move it around here on the controls. So I can move this value where I like. And I can also move around the order of the fields if I choose to. And I believe, if I watch the video correctly, if I go back and come back into working preview, I should remember the order that I preferred to have those columns in. So let me grab that and see if I did that right. Yeah, oh, grab it. Yep, and it looks like it. All right, cool. Let's now take a look at the release notes because there are some new features coming out in the nightly build, which I'd like to show you. So we're going to go view nightly build release notes. And we're going to scroll down here. And okay, let's get down to lightweight list control. So we now have some new ways of marking whether a row has been new, has been deleted, or has been changed using this when you turn off the row prefix. That's kind of a cool effect. I like the way that the whole row has been highlighted there for you. And we have the ability, if you already have a list control and you want to import the data source and the table that it's using, you can actually use now a new feature called import list settings. And we'll get to talk in a moment why you would maybe want to use the lightweight list over the standard list, which I see is one of the questions here. Next, there's now a read-only possibility. You can add a default value, which is calculated by JavaScript in both cases. And you can, this is very cool, you can now show different control types. So your control type for text box and so on, you can now have a date time picker if you decide to add that in. And for column definitions, when you double click on it, like I showed you before, you now have options for control types. So in the stable version right now, you'll see these are all just text boxes, but in the nightly build, you'll see that you'll be able to use basically every other kind of control. All right, so that's pretty much it for lightweight list controls. It's a very cool little feature, like I said, for quickly putting together interfaces that'll talk to your tables. So let's take a look here at the questions. The first one is, what makes it lightweight? How is it different from the heavyweight list? And where would you use them? The lightweight list control is much easier to define, so that's one reason you might use it. It's just quicker in setting up for you, the developer. The other thing is that it will load quicker on your device. It has less code that needs to be loaded in the background, less processing that needs to be done. So it's a really much faster way of handling that. Let me see if there are any other questions. It looks like all the other questions were what were the what were the rest of that? Last question I see here is, does PWA, this is a PWA question, have access to the phone's camera and barcode reader? That is a possibility in PWAs in general. I don't think we've fleshed that out though in alpha anywhere as a way to do that, but it's something that we're looking to add. There has been some interesting developments with PWAs recently. It looks like a very handy way to be able to launch them directly from the home screen from a phone might be limited by Apple in the European Union, according to some recent articles that have come out on that. We are following that situation closely. And even if that is the case, PWAs still have got a lot of value, even on the phone, even in the EU. Let's see, do we have any other questions? It doesn't look like it. Well, hey, thanks very much, everyone, for showing up today. Hope to see you next week in our next Alpha Software demo and Q&A webcast. In the meantime, you can keep questions coming to guides@alphasoftware.com. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.